What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be looking at a leaked version of the Chapter 3 Fortnite map, along with some patch notes detailing a lot of what will change at the start of Chapter 3. A lot of this could turn out to be fake or false, but I do think this has decent potential to be true. And whether or not it is true or not, it's still something fun to talk about and something fun to think about as we look forward to Chapter 3. If you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and comment down below if you think this map and patch notes are real, or if there's anything that you want to discuss with this or you find interesting. Leave a comment to that below. I will be reading and replying to a lot of the comments on this video. So here's a picture of the leaked Chapter 3 map that I'm going to be talking about in this video. And this actually was leaked a while ago, or in October. But back then, a lot of people just wrote it off because we really didn't know if we were going to be getting a Chapter 3 anytime soon. At that point in time, a lot of people still thought we would be getting Chapter 2, Season 9, and Season X. But since then, it has been confirmed that we're getting a Chapter 3. And another rumor that has been going around, or something to do with the storyline, is that the Chapter 3 map is actually underneath the Chapter 2 map. And I think a lot of people also wrote this off as just like a fan-made concept because of how similar it looks to the Chapter 2 map, and that would make sense that would give it away as fake. But since we have like storyline reasons to believe that the Chapter 3 map is actually underneath the Chapter 2 map and it will flip over during the end of chapter event, it kind of makes sense that they would somewhat look similar and have similar characteristics despite being different. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of this map. I think it's kind of like just like I personally wasn't a fan of the water. In Chapter 2, I was hoping that we wouldn't really have a water-based map, and this map seems to bring the water to even like a higher level and make it much more of like a part of the gameplay, which we will get to later on when we talk about some of the patch notes. But it seems like water is a really big deal on this map. It seems like there's a lot of edge POIs that are really isolated from the rest of the map, and that's one of the things I really didn't like about the Chapter 2 map, the water and how isolated a lot of the POIs were. If you go somewhere like Craggy Cliffs or Dirty Docks, you loot that POI, and maybe you have a few people to fight off spawn, and then you're probably not seeing people for a while because there really isn't much from that POI to the rest of the map. The flow just really wasn't there for the Chapter 2 map, in my opinion, and that's one of the reasons why the Chapter 1 map was so good. A lot of people just hype it out of nostalgia, but I think the flow on the Chapter 1 map was really, really good, and based on this leaked map, it doesn't seem like the flow is going to be getting any better in Chapter 3 unless there's just a lot of mobility options or something that really makes the game play differently. But it seems like a lot of the POIs are on the edge, there's water separating a lot of them, and there's really just a lot of water and distance separating a lot of the POIs from one another, so the flow doesn't really seem like it's going to be there, and it's going to be less predictable and less just like fast-paced. So that's what I think of this map so far. There are some OG POIs returning. I figured people would want me to point them out. We have Tilted Towers, Pleasant Park, Risky Reels, Loot Lake, and some Chapter 2 POIs like Dirty Docks and Caddy Corner. Interesting that they would include some Chapter 2 POIs since most of the Chapter 2 map has been like very similar for the entirety of Chapter 2. But there's going to be a mix of Chapter 1 POIs, Chapter 2 POIs, and some new POIs according to this leaked map. So now let's get into the leaked patch notes and talk about that, because there's actually a lot to go over here. Some of it sounds really crazy, but it's Epic Games. I really wouldn't put anything past them. Like a few years ago, if I read these patch notes, I would think this is so fake. There's no way. But we all know Fortnite has had some crazy updates over time, so really nothing would surprise me at this point. The first point is going to be 150 players, and that could be a huge change. I know a lot of people have been asking that for some time, especially since Warzone came out and had 150 players and it worked just fine. 150 players can be really good for the game. It can also be bad. It really just depends on how the game handles it, and we really wouldn't know that until we're able to play it. But if Epic is going to go with 150 players on this map, it's probably been tested and it probably works just fine. So I wouldn't really worry about it running poorly, because it's really, I don't think there's any way they would introduce something like that without really testing it and really being sure it can work. Because if they go to 150 players and then have to scale it back to 100, a lot of players are going to be unhappy with that. So 150 players could make the game a lot better. It could kind of fix the lobbies dying out really early. It could fix some of those pacing issues I was talking about before, since there's more people to spread across the map. Really depends. I think it's really hard to give an opinion on that without having played it. So 150 players, it sounds good. It could be a step in the right direction, but we'll have to wait and see. There's some new vehicles detailed in the patch notes, including jet skis, rowboats, and sailboats. Obviously, there's a lot of water on this map, so we're going to need a lot of water-based vehicles. In the snow biome, there's an abominable mobile, so something like a snowmobile. There's flopper flippers, which give you double swim speed and the ability to swim underwater. These will help you loot some of the water areas or just traverse the water areas. There's also a lot of bridges connecting a lot of the island POIs to the mainland, but I would imagine that would be kind of difficult to traverse because a lot of people would maybe be watching them. There's a sword and shield melee weapon. So you have a sword and a shield, so you can block with the shield and then attack with the sword. I would assume it'd be like ADS button would be block with the shield, and then your attack button would be swing the sword. And this will also allow you to double jump and surf the shield. So that sounds pretty crazy, but once again, it's Fortnite. I could definitely see them doing something, and I could definitely like picture that being in a trailer and being something they highlight at the start of Chapter 3. In the jungle biome, there's apparently going to be mole mittens, which allow you to climb obstacles such as rocks and scale objects. And that also sounds weird, but I believe this has been leaked in another time, or something else has came out about this at some point, because I did have people coming to my chat on Twitch. By the way, I stream on Twitch. It'll be linked down in the description below. But I did have people coming to my chat and telling me that there's going to be rock climbing in the new season. And I thought that was weird because we can just build. But apparently, like, that was leaked from multiple sources. So that does give some sort of credibility to this, in my opinion. The deck POI, which is a boat, will have a legendary pirate captain, which wields dual flintlock pistols. That sounds really insane and really fun. And a vault. So there's going to be mythic POIs returning, mythic weapons, and like AI to fight, which personally I'm not a huge fan of. IO guards were also mentioned to exist in the jungle biome with the mole mittens. But I was never a huge fan of the AI contested POIs or the vaults or the mythic weapons. Usually it just, I was never really a fan of it, but obviously a lot of people were if they're bringing that back. There's one line in the patch notes about a mysterious source of energy in the middle of the map, which gives faster running and increased jump height. So like peppers, which also affect your jump speed, I'm guessing. I'd imagine this would be something you'd pick up, like how we had the cube rocks in the past, or the peppers, or something along those lines. I think it's going to be something you pick up, or it could just be that area is infected with that and you jump higher and move faster there. That'd be really crazy for ending zones. Along with like the absurd amount of water on this map, I think will also be really weird with the ending zones and just zones in general. But there's actually a huge change coming to the zones that I'm actually just going to read word for word from these leaked patch notes because it's kind of confusing. All right, it says, is the island so big you're scared of running from the storm the whole match? Weather analysis suggests a storm mutation created from the cataclysm. The first storm phase consists of 2 storm eyes instead of 1. Eventually, these 2 eyes merge together in a traditional sense, so players have nothing to worry about. So there's actually going to be 2 storms happening simultaneously on this map, which later merge together and just become one zone. I believe this was used in the past in like Team Rumble or something along those lines. It was a game mode, or maybe 50v50. I'm not really sure. But I think this was done in the past, but I just really didn't play the game mode because I don't play either of those game modes. But this is something that's really crazy, and it sounds like there's no way they would do that. But you got to remember, going from Chapter 1 to Chapter 2, there was a lot of things that changed in the game, and the game was actually quite different looking back at it between the 2 chapters. So I think they do want to have like some pretty large changes going from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3, and this new storm could make the game feel fresh again, make the game exciting in some ways. It's a new kind of mechanic for people to learn and predict and play around, and it also could address some of the pacing issues like I was talking about before, and 150 players might work better with multiple zones because you're basically like segregating the map off from one another into 2 zones, and then they'll combine is what I'm guessing. So this could be really good. It could be really fun. It could also work out really poorly. Like if you happen to land on one side of the map that doesn't have very many people and you're stuck in your own storm and people really can't get to you as well as they can get to the other storm, I would imagine that you would have a really boring game. So I could see this being really good or really bad. It just kind of depends how it plays out, and it's kind of hard to give an opinion on that without having played the game. So that's going to be it for this video. Those are the leaked patch notes and my thoughts on the leaked Chapter 3 map. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, I'm going to be reading and responding to a lot of the comments in this video, since the whole point of this was to discuss this leaked map and these leaked patch notes. Kind of personally, I'm really not hoping that this is real. I don't like the look of this map, but we'll have to see how it plays out in game. Really looking forward to 150 players. If that does turn out to be true, I think that could work out quite well and address a lot of the pacing issues the game has had, because I think that is one way that the game has really struggled a lot for a long time, and other BRs such as Warzone I feel like have a much better pacing, a much faster pacing that makes the game more fun for longer periods of time. So although the combat of Fortnite I like more, it's weird. So they both have aspects that I like, but Fortnite's pacing issues need to be addressed, and hopefully with Chapter 3 that could be the case. Like I said before, comment down below, like the video if you haven't, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys another time. Thanks for watching.